everywhere we go, under the sun or in the snow, from Vancouver to Toronto, people want to know. At the first glance, if by any chance the way we sing and dance, we wouldn't come from France, we answer no. Oh no, no, no. We're not Frenchmen, we're not Germans, we're not Russians, we're not Polish, we're not English, Indians, Negroes, we're not even Eskimos. We're not Cajuns, though we're raging. All we want is a good living. We're your neighbors from Québec, des tatas pis des beaux becs. French is fun, French is money, that's all we're trying to say. Why don't you join the party? Alouette, je t'y plumerai.
They are alone, alone against the night, alone against the fire, against the storms. They are alone against the forest. They are alone against the land. And they understand they can count only on themselves to work and to build the life they want, because the outside world seems to be unreal, seems to be so far. And when I write now, I think of them, and they are in my books.
Il a jeûné 40 jours sans prendre soutenance à Jésus, sans prendre soutenance.
In a certain sense, the life in the village is a metaphor of the life in Quebec.
My studies, my colleges, my universities took me a long way from my village. I was trying to write my first book, and I was feeling that I was missing a very important share of myself, because I had forgot about where I was coming from. At that time, a man told me, Roch, don't forget, a poet is a man who must sing in his genealogical tree. I remember above all, the people in the village. There were old men proud of a very, very difficult life and still confident in the future of their children and of the village.
Oui. Ça, c'est coré à l'arrache.
My grandfather, when his memories works well, can remember things that are almost as old than the village. He is 89. During the winter, he was going across the American border to work in the woods, and he was coming back for the springtime.
Là, je vais me mettre, je me mets à 8 ans.
When my grandfather speaks about
Il
his
veut avoir des
farm,
ouvrages tout le temps.
he's very proud. But it was an absolutely awful farm, and nothing could grow on that land except stones.
C'était une belle période dans votre vie, ça?
It was very tough for him, for his wife, and they were so tired at the end of the day that the only thing they could do was to go to bed. After a whole life of work, the only thing they could do was to give that land back to the forest.
Le monde, il écoutait à pouvoir.
Why did they accept to live that way? I think it is because of their religion. Each Sunday, the priest would explain that the land was a gift of God, and it was their task as French Canadians to make their land produce. Richness is not for you. You must be resigned. You must plow your rocks because those lands were made by God, so you must accept. For the children we were, the forest was a paradise. It was a land of liberty because it contains everything. All the mysteries were there also. Often we would imagine our heroes of our books were in that forest. I know now it's not a magical place. Here, men from my village must live. There is no place for pleasure here,
and nobody will become rich. And I tell myself it is an old story. I saw at the end of the table a very young man. I thought of my father. When I think of my father so young in the wood, it makes me sad and mad at the same time. Because he was not the only one so young person to be exploited. It's difficult to live in a technological time when you came from a Middle Ages civilization. But people of my village really try hard. Mr. Lachance, Paul, is a friend of mine. We were in the same classroom. He's a man who work, and work so hard. The old Lachance company, Paul, his wife, and his 3 children, they just had obtained a contract, big contract of 1 million baseball bats. Paul, the president of that small company, explained me that 1 million baseball bats would take a whole year. But I think for all that work, he will make only a little money. Until the war, people in the village were living for themselves. And when they had relationships with others, it was with God. With the war, they discovered it was necessary to live in that great thing which is the world. You see, the guys were leaving the village and discovering a new world. So, the very small circle of the village civilization was broken. When I was a child, I spent many hours in the shop of Mr. Roland Chabot. He and his father were very busy men, always trying to bring work to the village, which they would like to be a big town. But because they were born here, everything was made difficult to them. I like that man because he's trying to continue the dreams of his father.
And I remember something he often told me. I would like to have a big chimney, near the factory. That was his ambition.
He made an invention. The name of this is, en français, là, enfer à vache. En anglais, the translation was anti-cow kicks, to prevent cow from kicking,
And after that, they made wooden pencil boxes. They made wooden sleighs. They made wood eels, and they never could produce fast enough. But still, Roland tries to realize his father's ambition, that they should be able to make something to sell on the Canadian market.
It's great to see a man almost alone, without no means, trying to create something from nothing.
The word on this bracelet. Many times he told me, I would like to have my products at every counter from Halifax to Vancouver. Ça, je m'en souviens très bien. J'aimerais avoir mes produits, disons, de Halifax à Vancouver, from coast to coast, from Atlantic to Pacific.
In a certain sense, Mr. Chabot and his father represent a kind of dream of Ste-Justine to become important in the world and to be involved in the world.
Dimanche le 2 juillet, à Ste-Justine, au profit de l'OTJ. Les chevaux venant d'une dizaine de comtés seront présents. Souper à 5 heures.
Mr. Turcotte, one of the biggest farmers in the village, is a symbol of those farmers who are disappearing. He has no children who want to continue that work because they have left for the city, and Mr. Turcotte is going to the end of his farm. Jean-Marie Fournier seemed to me to be an angel in the village. He's a house painter, and Jean-Marie Fournier painted with very colorful colors most of the village. Always singing, always flying. Jean-Marie Fournier studied philosophy in Rome. When I see him now, I cannot help myself thinking that that man could be today a very important priest, a bishop, maybe. I think that at a certain moment, Rome was too far from Ste-Justine. I think of him as a man from avant-garde. Before anybody decided that cultural life, intellectual life was no good to a man, and he decided to come back to the village and live the life he liked. The first time I saw Roch Chabot, I noticed a kind of naivety in his face. Many of the men from the village seemed to me to be like him, who present themselves to life absolutely unarmed. I could be that man. I had just a little luck. When he was 14, he had to quit school and to earn his living as a truck driver. And only in his truck he could have the feeling he was alive. He was strong and he was driving his own life.
Yeah, I like the hard job. That's what I like.
You don't dream of a very soft job?
No, never. I cannot do that.
Cars, trucks, racing are for him a revenge on his destiny. What will his children become? I guess they will begin again the adventure of their father, who began again the adventure of his father. Mr. Alphonse Carbonneau, the father of 13 children.
Comme quoi?
He believes traditions are a part of a man's life, and he seems great to me because now they are gone, he accepts a future he cannot understand. His farm is like all the other ones, covered with stones. So during the winter, he would leave to cut wood, and each spring there would be a new child. He was writing often to his wife. He knew it must have been difficult for her to spend many winters alone.
Et puis, j'ai vécu ce temps-là. Alors,
We wonder how we lived in
aussi
those
bien
days,
qu'aujourd'hui.
but we
Mais
live
suivant
as
les
well as today.
circonstances.
We were happy,
Ouais. On était heureux. Très heureux. Ah oui.
they have been married for 60 years. 4 generations of children came to honor their lives.
Ah oui.
I ask her, what
Il avait
keeps
fait
you
25
with
piastres d'une
your
verre.
husband 60
Ah.
years?
Ah,
Because
ben,
I
je
loved
l'aimais.
him.
Je l'aimais.
Love today
L'amour
is not like I
aujourd'hui,
used to understand
c'est
it.
pas comme je comprenais ça. Oui.
Love for me was
L'amour,
like
c'est comme
loving
on
the baby
aimait petit
Jesus
Jésus,
or a
qu'on
little
aimait le petit
child.
Jésus, puis qu'on aimait un petit enfant.
The people today, they make love,
L'amour
and after
d'aujourd'hui,
they kill.
ils font l'amour, puis ils tuent après.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup.
Like many of the old men of my village, he has lived a life of limitations with great dignity. He does not worry about death, but about the unknown future of the village.
Ouais. Ils sont bien généreux. Hein?
There is there a great generosity to be able to understand the life is stronger than you and the life continue after you.
When I think of the people in my village, I am sure there is greatness in them, and they had not the opportunity of developing that greatness, but they struggle to be stronger than their limitations, and that's why they are great to me. The village is my past. I'm made out of their experience. I'm made out of their memories. Now, I must find myself in the city.
J'entends le moulin tac. Lance voiture à trois pignons, j'entends le moulin tac. Son trois sapins qui la font tic 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 tac. J'entends le moulin tic tic tic, j'entends le moulin tac.